All right, hello everyone, and welcome back. This is Game 4 of Wednesday Night StarCraft. It will be VVV's Ruff versus Dice here on MLG Daybreak. I'm sure a lot of you guys already know that Daybreak will be the new map coming in Season 7, and Ruff is spawning as the red Terran player on the bottom left-hand side of the map at what I'll call the 7 o'clock position. Meanwhile, Dice spawning as the blue Zerg on the top right-hand side at what I will call the 2 o'clock position.
Yeah, and this is going to be the probably the only TVZ. Well, I guess if Ruff wins again, we'll have another TVZ. But like we said, we're going to have a lot of PVZ coming up. But we do get to see Ruff take on a Zerg player, and I really like watching his TVZ. Not only is it one of my favorite matchups, but he has all these different strategies he uses. You know, a lot of Terran players just go for that pretty standard two-base Hellion opening to start, but Ruff, you can never tell with him. He does place down that supply depot at the top of the ramp per usual, but we'll see whether he goes for sort of one of those early tactic type games like we saw in the last one, or whether he goes for a more of a macro style in this one.
All right, Ruff already, interestingly enough, moving out with an early SCV. Normally, an SCV this early in the game would indicate some sort of proxy play, and it might actually be a proxy wax for early pressure. We'll see where it will be placed down, and if it will in fact be that. But Dice already on top of it. He's going to come inside, take a look around, and what Dice needs to figure out is his opponent trying to go for a fast command center, which he obviously now knows that it is not going to be, as you see a refinery. Or if it's going to be some sort of proxy racks, and now he needs to hunt for where that barrack could possibly be.
Yeah, we've seen a proxy barracks along with an add-on getting out a few early Marauders against Protoss and TVP, but it's going to be interesting to see where Ruff uses this add-on for. I have a feeling that's why he's going for the refinery that earliest for an add-on. Can't imagine he'd place a factory out here, but we will see what he's going to do with this barracks. I actually have no idea.
Yeah, we're just kind of looking at this, trying to figure out what the strategy will be. Ruff already upgrading to an orbital command. He is adding on a tech lab here. That tech lab is pretty much going to be sitting there for a little while, and Ruff still keeping the SCV nearby. It looks as though one drone was taken out, as Ruff does have 3 SCVs on gas so far. Ruff is also getting up that second all-important supply depot. Only needs one more building to finish off this wall in. Meanwhile, in Dice's base, Dice is going for a spawning pool, no extractor, which means that there will be a delay on any sort of speed coming in, as now 2 SCVs looking to perhaps set up double bunkers.
Yeah, but Dice had done a nice job of scouting that with that Overlord, and he's going to shut it down by really sort of overreacting here with 10 drones, but he does not want this this bunker to finish. We do have one Reaper about to finish, another one on the way, and if a bunker does get up, the Reapers can be so devastating to both Lings, drones, and hatcheries, and we see Ruff again trying to put down the double bunker, and he's got to micro his tail off here with this Reaper, but Dice is going to do his best to try to take down the SCVs as they do build these bunkers. One is almost, or is dead, but one of the bunkers almost finished, and we'll see whether Dice is going to be able to get this remaining SCV. It's going to be a bit of a dance as the SCV about to go down 3 HP. The bunker does not finish.
All right, so one Reaper up against a lot of Zerglings here, but it looks as though the Reapers will be able to work together and be able to one-shot those Zerglings. The Spine Crawler is already up. We should see a cancellation. No cancellation on one of the bunkers. So a quick loss of 75 resources there, as the Reaper now going to jump up onto the high ground. The Queen is nowhere nearby, and this is going to be a bit of a problem, as the Queen is now stuck in a bit of limbo, and now some drones could get taken down.
Yeah, more and more Lings being forced out here by Ruff, so at least it's doing a little bit of damage to the economy by forcing Lings rather than drones. And like you said, this Queen gonna have difficulty catching up to these Reapers off of creep. No second Queen out quite yet, and now Marauder coming in. So Marauder gonna add a little bit of beef and HP tanking to this this early aggression. We do see the Spinecrawler being repositioned a little bit, and it looks like another Marauder is coming out for Ruff, though he is supply blocked at this point, doing his best to get up an expansion, and I have a feeling this tech lab won't be long for this world, as Dice did a decent job of defending against that early pressure.
Now back in the base of Ruff, Ruff is going into double factory play, so we'll see if he has added mass mech into his strategies against Zerg. There is one spine crawler on the ramp. Oh, the spine crawlers have to be careful. There is one marauder there. The DA charges of those Reapers could deal a lot of damage to those marauders. We'll see what's going to happen next as the marauders are absorbing a little bit too much damage there. One spine crawler looks like it will get taken down. The Reapers trying to dance away from those Zerglings. All those marauders and the Marines, or marauders and Reapers, will get taken out, as Dice coming in with 3 queens and has been able to handle that early aggression there.
Yeah, but Dice actually only has 15 drones at this point. He's only lost, looks like, 2 or 3, but yeah, he's just, again, been forced to create Lings. Now a big round of drones coming out, so he's finally going to even things up, but Ruff has 2 bases, 2 orbital commands, and he doesn't have a lot of production. Like you said, just started these 2 factories. He's got one with a tech lab, a reactor being added to one, and then another factory on the way. He will be floating back his racks, and that's pretty important to keep alive, as it does allow you to create those factories. And now we're going to see some mech play from Ruff.
All right, Blue Flame Tech now being added. I'm surprised I don't see an armory yet, as getting the level 1 weapons upgrade on the mech would allow the Hellions to two-shot many of those drones, which was a really common strategy for quite a while. One Zerg getting torched on the ramp, getting quickly taken out. The tech lab of Ruff still providing sight off in this location. I'm a little bit surprised that Ruff didn't just place the tech lab straight up to try to block the hatchery.
Yeah,
and from coming down and as a third base, just to be a little bit more of an annoyance, as we are now sitting at 28 food compared to 25, but Dice with 15 larvae could change that in just a matter of seconds.
Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of minerals, though. He's floating very low on minerals. He's going to do his best to come out with more and more drones, but he has started, it looks like, just 1 gas at the moment, but his economy is a little bit stagnant at the start of this game just because of that cheese by Ruff, but he didn't take too much damage there, and now Ruff's going to be coming across the field with actually a lot of Hellions. I guess that's what happens when you do have 3 factories, and 8 Hellions. Blue Flame about to finish. We do have a Roach Warren finished for Dice, but does he have any Roaches out so far? He does not, but 4 Queens and a Spine Crawler are going to do quite well against the force of Hellions here.
Alright, so the Hellions are now in the Blue Flame variety. A lot of Queens could get taken out. 1 Queen down. A 2nd Queen does get taken down as well. A lot of the Creep Tumor is also taking damage as well, and I'm not sure what the Queens were doing. They may have accidentally been hitting the Evolution Chamber, as we now see an Evolution Chamber block beautifully done by Dice, but that supply depot cannot be raised, and now some drones look like they will get torched once more. Dice in a bit of trouble, as Ruff following up this cheese with even more cheese and playing this beautifully.
Yeah, he was able to do so much damage with these Hellions, and if he's able to keep these few alive and get 1 or 2, no, he's not going to be able to do that, but now it's 34 to 26, and Dice again going to have to constantly pump drones. Check out his minerals floating so low on those. I might pull off gas for a while. He does have a lot of roaches, so he can really push across the field, try to do a little bit of damage with those, but Ruff has time to get up at a bunker if he wants. He's got tanks and marauders waiting for these roaches, and Roach's not going to be able to do too much damage, but Dice really hurting at this point. He's got a Spore Crawler on the way as well, so I imagine he's thinking that maybe a follow-up with Banshees is coming, but instead it's just going to be a ton of factories, and Ruff going to have Siege Mode finished in just a moment.
Yeah, a 3rd command center now being established by Ruff. We'll see where he lifts off and lands that, as now the Roach is going after the Tech Lab. Siege Tanks now on the move. It looks like the Tech Lab will get destroyed, but a very, very bad trade by Dice. Those Roaches move very slowly, and even if it tried to get away, the Siege Tanks have a range of 7, able to destroy that in just a matter of seconds. And now it looks as though more Siege Tanks being added, as we are going into how many? 4 Tech Labs, 1 reactor on 5 factories.
I actually think that was a pretty decent trade there for Dice. Those Roaches, only 6 of them, weren't going to do too much, and they're sort of stuck across the field now that tanks are out and Hellions are out. So able to take down that Tech Lab, which was researching Concussive Shell. So I imagine that Ruff's going to be coming out maybe just 1 or 2 Marauders at a time, and having Concussive Shell slowing down those Roaches as they try to get towards your Siege Tanks could be pretty helpful. Now we see a Tech Lab having to be added to that racks, and going to delay both Concussive Shell and the Marauder Force just a little bit.
We'll see what's going to happen next. Ruff has a couple SCVs repairing these Hellions now. We do have 4 Siege Tanks. The Siege Tanks could easily start just knocking on this front door. the Siege Tanks are going to start stutters or just start positioning themselves rough in a little bit of a situation, as he's not going to be able to get up the ramp any further, as one Siege Tank is blocking him. Unless he tries to take down the destructible debris. Oh, no, actually able to squeeze by there. So, able to squeeze by there, but now just walking straight within range. Not quite sure what he's doing there, as this Siege Tank now needs to retreat down to 43 hit points. But Ruff did double expand behind this, so Dice is in a very dicey situation as this game continues.
And not having this destructible debris down hurts Dice so much. It's such a small choke to try to get to all these tanks. You don't want all your roaches that are slow at this point to have to get into that small choke. And there's just so many tanks here, Crota. 10 tanks against 9 roaches, a few banelings, and a few lings. Things are looking pretty bad for Dice.
Yeah, right now, Ruff just moving up with 3 siege tanks at a time. It looks as though the siege tanks are going to get in position. Spine crawlers need to retreat. Evolution chamber is going to get destroyed in just a matter of seconds. And Ruff just showing the strength of siege tanks and Hellions. I guess doing a tribute back to Brood War, siege tank and vultures. And this is just absolutely knocking on the front door, causing problems as the roaches are now trying to push their way in.
Yeah, here we got a big engage. The roaches and the banelings trying to make their way in. The banelings actually getting a lot of damage onto those Hellions, and the roaches might be able to clean this up. Ruff has no reinforcements coming across the field, so if Dice is able to defend, he will be in decent shape, but no, Ruff will hold on. He's got 3 tanks, and now he's got more roaches coming out for Dice, so he might be able to clean this up, but not before taking a lot of damage. These siege tanks in great position to shell units as they do pop out of this natural. And Ruff, like you said, double expanded behind this, so he's in great shape. Even if this doesn't totally destroy Dice, the end game really gonna favor Ruff.
All right, we'll see what's gonna happen here next. Only 1 siege tank left. Ruff trying to run with that siege tank, not gonna be able to really get anywhere. Down to 11 hit points. There it goes. As now the siege tanks are perhaps reinforcing. The planetary fortress is already up at the 4th base. Meanwhile, Thors are now out as we are going into mass Thors and siege tanks with Hellions. A very, very nice support. Ruff has a 3rd orbital command, and things are looking very good for Ruff, as Ruff is sitting on 49 SCVs compared to 46 drones, and the Thors are going to cause problems as the roaches all need to retreat once again.
There's several seconds there where Ruff was not supply blocked and had a ton of minerals, wasn't really producing, so he's not keeping up with his macro while he is trying to micro all of these encounters, and that can come back and haunt you. You can be ahead in a game like this, feel like you really have it under control, and then your macro slips a little bit. Suddenly you've got 2,000 resources banked, and you can start losing. So Ruff needs to make sure that he keeps on top of that. We do have another encounter, or another push coming from Ruff. He's going to make sure there's no 3rd up, and now we're going to have a lot of banelings that maybe perhaps looking for a bit of a counter. They're coming behind these forces, going to try to catch them unsieged, and they will do that. How much damage will they do? And looks like the banelings without speed not going to do any damage.
Nope, the Hellions could try to perhaps just constantly flame and take down more of those units. Siege tanks are ready to go. Thors are there as well. The Thors can absorb a lot of that damage. The baneling splash hitting against a Thor is not altogether that helpful. There is also a planetary fortress here for Ruff, so Ruff should be able to take down 2 to 3 banelings before they find their way in. But the siege tanks and the Hellions are already in position, and now it's up to the banelings and the roaches to try to clean this up.
Yeah, the siege tanks actually weren't in siege mode for a while there, so they're not getting shots off like they should, and Dice getting a pretty decent trade. A mule being dropped, not sure if that's a manor mule or whether it's going to be used to repair. Yes, it is, and Ruff, I think, kind of bungled that attack a little bit, but just the sheer number of units he had gave him the advantage.
We'll see what Ruff's going to do next. He is lining up some siege tanks a little bit more. 11 roaches about to pop, though, so that could be a huge factor as Dice now tries to make another move inside. Drones coming off the mineral line. And Hellions now trying to perhaps torch some more of those drones as well. Ruff's attack is going to get stopped, but how many drones will get taken out here? We're up to 34 worker kills, and the harvester count now 61 to 26 as Dice cleans up this last Thor.
Yeah, and that mule desperately trying to repair that Thor, as it does take shots from that roach, or from those roaches, and I think that Ruff did a really smart thing there, as he did know that that battle was going to be a loss for him. He microed his Hellions, and he was able to focus down those drones, so he's able to do a ton of economic damage. It's 64 to 33 harvester-wise, but Ruff has chosen the wrong base to get his orbital command, or to get a orbital command on. He does not have a planetary fortress, and he's going to take a little bit of damage from this Ling run by, but he cleans that up quite nicely with the Hellions. And still, these roaches do not have speed, I don't think, so they're going to be so slow coming across the field. Dice is not going to be able to counterattack anytime he does win an encounter.
Alright, so Ruff now was attempting to follow this up with another double expansion. One of the expansions was cancelled, but now it looks as though Dice sees that there is another base up and operational for Ruff, and now Dice realizes how far behind he truly is. You see Ruff sitting on 4 bases, soon to be 5, against Dice's 3. You normally hear that Zerg players want to be up 1 base, and that is definitely not the case in this scenario, as he is currently down 2.
Yeah. You want to be up 1 base, not down 2. It's a little bit of a turnaround there, and he doesn't even have any sort of tech advantage either, as Ruff has basically 2-2 about to finish for his mech. He's at 136 to 75. He could just wait another minute or two to push out here. It would be about 180, and then pushing out probably into a Zerg player that's close to 110, 120, as Dice just doing his best to get up his 3rd. But yeah, Dice is in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, right now I think the writing's on the wall. Dice is trying to macro back up. He's been producing a lot of drones, and that means that his army is rather small. Only 300 minerals worth of Zerglings. Wow. So that is no good. 14 roaches about to pop, but will it be enough is the question. There's not that much larva. 9 larva out now, but spine crawlers are now trying to make their way in. Roach is going to try to engage. SCVs are repairing already. Siege tanks getting in position. Dice forced to retreat. Those spine crawlers are going to get destroyed after only getting perhaps 3 or 4 hits total. And now Ruff with a 70 food advantage and should be able to put the final nail in the coffin.
Yeah, that's GG. Another 3 or 4 Thors coming across the field, and got a planetary fortress about to finish for Ruff in the southeast corner that Roaches are going to try to take down before it does finish. They might actually be able to do that, but if Ruff cancels that and picks it up, it looks like he will do that. But the natural going down for Dice, he's probably going to lose his 3rd as well, and he's just got nothing to combat the army that Ruff has really made for himself.
Yeah, really not much. Ruff now coming back in. He still has a lot of SCVs at his 4th base. The Thors, SCVs constantly repairing all of these siege tanks. Who needs medevacs when you have SCVs on auto repair? So many Thors destroying so many of the key tech buildings at the natural expansion. Roach is getting caught in transit, not even bothering to fight back. Some of them do get away, however, as the siege tanks are now upgraded 2-2, and we are now going into personal cloaking as Dice says GG.
Yeah, so Ruff, such a strong game there. After his initial cheese doesn't work at all. I mean, I guess he got a little bit of damage for some Lings out rather than drones. He was able to follow that up with that mech play, and Dice just had no answer for it.
Yeah, Dice, no answer. I think it was just one strategy after another, after another, after another, and Ruff getting 10,000 more resources over his opponent really showed. So it looks as though we will be going into Game 5 with VVV up 3-1 over Binary Gaming.